considering the words to be found in Paul's epistle to the Romans in chapter 8, verses 28 to 30. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose. For whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate, to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. Moreover, whom he did predestinate, them he also called, and whom he called, them he also justified, and whom he justified, them he also glorified. And we saw that it's a further argument brought forward by the Apostle to give us assurance as to our ultimate and final salvation, our ultimate glorification. Now, we saw that he limits his statement, all things work together for good, only to certain people, to those who love God, to those who are the called according to his purpose. It isn't just a general optimistic statement, isn't life wonderful, or isn't the world wonderful, and so on. It isn't that. It's a peculiar, special statement which has reference only to Christian people, to those who've been called saints in the previous verse, in verse 27. So it's important to observe the limit. Then we went on to inquire as to the meaning of this statement. What does it mean by saying that all things work together for good? And we examined it and tried to consider how exactly that comes to pass. We emphasize that there is no limit upon this word all. It means all things. And we saw that it came to this. Not that all things do this in and of themselves, because they obviously don't. But God overrules everything for the good of his people. So we saw that trials and tribulations, illness, accident, disappointment, these things can, under God's almighty hand, be turned to our good and our advantage. And we considered in practice how this is worked by the power of God through the Holy Spirit. I say the word all means all. It does really mean everything. It isn't confined only to trials and troubles and tribulations. It is an all-exclusively, all-inclusive term. So that we've got to say this, that it includes even our falling into sin, even our backsliding. Now, clearly, this is a statement that one has to make very carefully, and yet it is a statement that has to be made. Because the teaching is here that every what happens to the Christian, to this man who loves God and is the called of God according to his purpose, everything is turned into his ultimate good. Now, never, you see, was it so important to emphasize the fact that this doesn't happen automatically. To fall into sin is always bad. It's never good. To be a backslider is never good. It is always bad. And yet I am asserting that even sinning, falling into sin or backsliding, comes under this heading. And we can say of it that it is something that because of our relationship to God does work unto our ultimate good and helps even to produce our final glorification. What is thunder and lightning? Well, according to the psalmist and according to the Bible everywhere, thunder and lightning are but a kind of indication of God's power. God who said at the beginning, let there be light, be light, but now he just gives you an indication of what his power is. What is a flash of the light, the these are but glimpses of God's power, God's eternal ability. Just the kind of touch of his glory. A fleeting, someday, and I'm emphasizing this, my dear friends, because you and I must come to realize, and these things are meant for us. We were never meant to be content with a little. We were never meant to be content with a little.